If that Christmas night the manger stood empty, no cry of a newborn child, no strange star guiding travelers, no angels singing in the winter sky, Bethlehem would still be cold, but colder still would be the human heart. Christmas candles would still be lit, but no one would know why they hoped. What would happen if the world had never heard the two words salvation? If love had no form to touch us, that Christmas night would be just another long winter night, where light had never come, and humanity would still be waiting for something they could not name. The city glows tonight. Storefronts dressed in red and green, street lamps wrapped in golden wire, music pouring from every doorway. December 24th, the night everyone celebrates. But celebrates what? A young woman walks alone down the crowded avenue. Her name is Sarah. She passes families carrying bags, couples holding hands, children pressing their faces against toy store windows. Everyone is smiling, everyone is busy, but when she looks closely at their eyes, she sees something missing, something hollow. The decorations are beautiful, the lights are bright, but no one speaks of a child. No one whispers the name that once changed everything. They gather because it is tradition. They give because it is expected. They sing because the songs are familiar. But the reason is gone. Sarah stops in front of a nativity scene in the town square. The figures are painted plaster. Mary, Joseph, shepherds, animals. But the center is empty. Just hay, just wood, just space. She feels cold in a way that has nothing to do with winter. "What are we celebrating?" she whispers to no one. The crowd moves around her like water. No one hears. No one stops. They are all looking for something. She thinks, but none of them know what it is. The music plays on, but it sounds like an echo of a song whose words have been forgotten. 2,000 years ago, on a night much like this one, a young couple arrived in Bethlehem. The man's name was Joseph. The woman's name was Mary. She was heavy with child, weary from travel, her body aching with the weight of something the world did not yet understand. They knocked on doors. They searched for shelter. The town was full. Every inn, every room, every corner already taken. Finally, someone pointed them toward a stable. Animals breathed warm air into the cold. Straw covered the floor. It was not much, but it was something. And then, nothing. In this world, the story ends there. No labor, no birth, no infant wrapped in cloth and laid in a feeding trough. The night passes in silence. The sky remains dark. The shepherds stay in their fields, unaware. The wise men never leave their distant lands. Mary and Joseph wait through the night, exhausted, uncertain. And when morning comes, they leave Bethlehem as quietly as they arrived. History continues, but it is a different history. No angels appear to announce good news of great joy. No heavenly host sings glory in the highest. No star burns brighter than all the others to mark the place where God touched earth. The world moves forward. Empires rise and fall. Philosophers teach. Armies conquer. Poets write. But something that should have been born never was. And the human heart learns to live without the one thing it needed most. In this world, people still speak of love, but they do not know what it means. A father tells his son, "Be strong, trust no one, take what you can before someone takes it from you." A mother tells her daughter, "Beauty fades. Power is all that lasts. Love is weakness unless it serves you." Children grow up learning that the world is divided into winners and losers. The strong survive. The weak are forgotten. Mercy is foolishness. Forgiveness is surrender. There is no voice that says, "Love your enemies." There is no teaching that whispers, "Forgive 70 times 7. Justice is decided by fists and swords and laws that favor the powerful. Compassion is a luxury only the wealthy can afford. The poor are told they deserve their suffering. The sick are left to die alone. No one has ever heard the phrase, "Blessed are the meek." In the cities, monuments rise to honor conquerors. In the villages, children play games of war. In the homes, love is conditional. It must be earned. It must be deserved. It can be lost in a moment if you fail to meet expectations. A man named Thomas sits at his kitchen table. His hands are shaking. His wife left him 3 months ago. She said he was not enough. She said love is not worth the effort when it brings no reward. He stares at the empty chair across from him. He thinks about the word enough. He wonders if anyone, anywhere, has ever been enough. He does not know that in another world. A voice once said, "You are loved because you exist, not because you are useful, not because you are perfect, simply because you are." But in this world, that voice was never born. And so Thomas sits alone, wondering why his heart feels like a stone. The hospital is full tonight. Always full. Beds lined up in rows. Bodies lying still under thin blankets. Some are old. Some are young. All are in pain. A nurse named Rachel moves from bed to bed. She has been working for 12 years. She no longer remembers why she started. At first, she thought she could help people. She thought medicine was enough. She thought science could solve suffering. But every day, she sees the same thing: pain without purpose, death without meaning. A woman in bed 7 is dying of cancer. She has no family, no visitors. She asked Rachel yesterday, "Why is this happening to me?" Rachel did not know what to say. She wanted to say something comforting, something true. But what is there to say when suffering has no meaning? In another world, someone once told a dying thief, "Today you will be with me in paradise." In another world, a man carried a cross through the streets and turned suffering into a doorway to love. But in this world, that man never existed, and so the woman in bed 7 dies alone. And Rachel finishes her shift and walks home through the cold and wonders why she feels so empty. Suffering is just suffering, pain is just pain, and death is just the end. There is no redemption, no resurrection, no promise that the broken will be made whole. People still bury their dead. They still grieve. They still weep. But they do not hope. They do not believe that tears mean anything to anyone beyond themselves. A child asks his father, "Where did Grandma go?" The father looks away. "Nowhere, son. She is just gone." The child is quiet for a long time. Then he says, "Will I be gone someday too?" "Yes." "Does it hurt?" "I do not know." The child stares at the ground. He is 6 years old, and already he is afraid of the dark. Humanity builds monuments to itself, towers that scrape the sky, machines that think, algorithms that predict, technologies that promise to solve every problem. But the problems remain. A billionaire stands on a stage and announces, "We will end poverty with innovation." But the poor are still poor, and the innovation only serves the rich. A politician promises, "We will bring peace through strength." But the wars do not stop, and the strength only creates more enemies. A scientist declares, "We will cure death itself." But people still grow old, still get sick, still disappear into the silence. Humanity keeps searching for a savior. They build gods from gold and steel and data. They worship power. They worship fame. They worship themselves. But none of it fills the emptiness. A young man named David sits in his apartment on Christmas Eve. He has everything the world says matters. A good job, a nice car, a closet full of clothes, a phone full of contacts. But he feels nothing. He scrolls through images of other people celebrating. Smiling faces, clinking glasses, wrapped gifts under glowing trees. He wonders what they are celebrating. He wonders if anyone knows. He turns off his phone. He stares at the wall. And he asks the question that has been growing in his chest for years. If no one is coming to save us, what are we living for? The silence does not answer. Because in this world, there is no answer. The night is darker than it should be. Not because of clouds, not because of winter, but because something is missing. Sarah walks past the church on Elm Street. The doors are open. The sanctuary is empty. A few candles flicker on the altar, but no one is there to light them. No one is there to pray. She steps inside. The air is cold. Her breath makes fog. She looks at the wooden beams above her, the stained glass windows, the rows of empty pews. Once, she thinks, this place meant something. Once. People came here because they believed someone was listening. But now it is just a building. She sits in the back row. She closes her eyes. She tries to remember the last time she felt like she mattered, not because of what she did, not because of what she earned, but just because she was alive. She cannot remember. Outside, carolers sing on the corner. Their voices are pleasant, but the words are hollow. Peace on earth. Goodwill to men. But no one knows where peace comes from, or why goodwill should exist. A homeless man sits beneath a Christmas tree in the park. The lights above him glow red and blue. He holds a sign that says, "Anything helps." People walk past. Some drop coins. Some ignore him. None of them stop to look him in the eye. He is invisible, not because he is homeless, but because in this world, everyone is invisible. A child unwraps a present under her tree. Inside is a doll. She smiles because her parents are watching, but when they leave the room, she sets the doll aside. She does not know why she has gifts. She does not know why this night is supposed to be special. She only knows that tomorrow everything will be the same. Somewhere in the city, a couple argues. They are tired of trying, tired of pretending, tired of a love that demands and never gives. They do not know that love was supposed to be something else, something unconditional, something that does not keep score. But in this world, that kind of love was never born. And so the night is empty, beautiful, decorated, full of noise, but empty, because the star that should have guided the wise men never appeared, and the child who should have cried in the manger never took his first breath. Sarah sits in the dark church. She does not pray. She does not know how, but she imagines, what if there had been a child? What if? On one cold night, 2,000 years ago, a baby had been born in the humblest place imaginable. What if that baby grew into a man who said impossible things? Love your enemies. Forgive without limit. The last will be first. The broken are blessed. What if that man had lived in such a way that even death could not hold him? What if his life meant that suffering was no longer meaningless? That pain could be transformed. That love was not just a feeling, but a force that could change everything. She opens her eyes. The sanctuary is still empty, but for a moment, it feels less cold. For a moment, she imagines what the world could have been. A world where hospitals are built not just to cure, but to comfort. A world where the poor are not forgotten, but lifted. A world where enemies become brothers. A world where forgiveness is not weakness, but strength. She imagines a small light, just one, flickering in the dark. And she wonders what would happen if someone actually lived that way. If someone actually loved without condition. If someone actually chose mercy over revenge. She does not know that in the real world. Someone did. Sarah walks out of the church. The cold hits her face. She pulls her coat tighter. But something has shifted inside her. A question, a longing, a faint memory of something she has never known. What if the light is not imaginary? What if it already came? The city looks different now. Not because anything has changed, but because Sarah is beginning to see what is already there. The hospital is still full, but it exists because someone once said, "I was sick and you visited me." The shelter down the street is still open, but it stands because someone once said, "Whatever you did for the least of these, you did for me." The woman who forgave her husband after years of pain. The man who adopted a child no one else wanted. The teenager who chose kindness when cruelty would have been easier. They are living out a story they may not even know. A story that began in a stable. A story written by a child who became a man, who became a sacrifice, who became a resurrection. The nativity in the town square is not empty. It never was. Mary is there. Joseph is there. And in the center, wrapped in cloth, lying in a manger made of wood, is the infant who changed everything. Not because he was powerful, but because he was love made flesh. Sarah stops in front of the nativity again. This time, she sees him. The small figure in the center, helpless, fragile, human. God is a baby. It is the strangest thing she has ever considered. If God wanted to save the world, why not come as a king? Why not as a warrior? Why not as a conqueror? Why come as a child who could do nothing but cry and need and depend? And then she understands, because that is what love does. It makes itself small. It makes itself vulnerable. It does not demand. It does not take. It gives. And it gives everything. The real world is not the one she imagined. The real world is the one where the baby was born, where the star shone, where the angels sang, where the story did not end in silence, but in hope. Every act of mercy, every moment of forgiveness, every choice to love when hate would be easier. They all trace back to that night, to the moment when heaven touched earth, to the moment when God said, "I will not leave you alone." We are not imagining light, we are living in it. We are not wishing for salvation. We are standing in the aftermath of it. The Christmas lights are still glowing. The music is still playing. The people are still walking. But now Sarah knows what they are celebrating. Not just tradition, not just family, not just gifts. They are celebrating the night when everything changed. The night when love arrived in the form of a child. The night when suffering gained meaning. The night when death lost its power. The night when humanity was given a reason to hope. Christmas exists because of a baby, not a symbol, not a myth. A real child, born to a real woman, in a real town, in a real moment of history. And that child grew up to say the words that still echo through time. You are loved. You are forgiven. You are not alone. Every year, Christmas comes again, not just on the calendar, but in the heart. It comes when a stranger helps someone in need. It comes when a parent holds a crying child. It comes when forgiveness is given where it is not deserved. It comes when we choose love over fear, when we choose mercy over judgment, when we choose hope over despair. The manger is not empty. The child is not absent. He is here, in every act of grace, in every moment of compassion, in every life that chooses to reflect his light. Sarah walks home through the cold, but she does not feel cold anymore. She thinks of the empty manger she imagined, the world without the child, the darkness without the light, and she is grateful, deeply, quietly grateful, because he came, because he loved, because he did not leave us in the dark. If Christmas night had no Christ child, humanity would not know what hope is. But because he came, we still have a reason to love. Not because we are perfect, not because we are strong, but because we are loved. And that love was born in a manger, on a cold night, under a bright star, 2,000 years ago, and it has never stopped shining.